All right. Hi, everybody. This is the moment when we are changing over and doing some different things. If you're watching this, you could be in one of two situations. You either are starting out with the coding, and this is the very first video to help guide you through that, or you're seeing this a couple weeks now from when I've recorded it. You've already done the robotics, and now you're going back to the coding. So wherever you're at, we're starting out from the ground floor. We're going to be working with this particular website. Most of you have actually used it before. It's really just the ninth graders who have not. It is called repl.it. You can see up in the top corner here, repl.it. And I sent you an invitation to join one of three groups because that is the three splits that we're doing to make sure everyone gets a turn at everything. So please do use your Providence email to join repl.it. I think it'll work better that way. Don't use a personal one. And I'm hoping this works well. I haven't actually done this before, but I'm hoping that making these teams is going to make it easier for us to share documents and things together. So when you have an assignment, you're going to do it within repl.it and share it with me right there. It's kind of like, like a Google Docs style thing, kind of like Onshape. It's collaborative. I can look over your shoulder and work together on it with you. So bear with us. We're all learning a little bit. I haven't used repl.it actually for a couple of years, but I think this is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it. Now let me see here. All right, so first thing we want to do, we're going to jump into Python. We're going to use Python, or Python, I know, as the Americans say it. We're using this firstly because it's a great language. It's very forgiving with its syntax. It's not very hard to find access to help files and things on the internet. It is used in all sorts of websites. It's actually increasingly common. A lot of people, a lot of educators are using Python, and it also happens to be the language that is now used to code our robots. So it's kind of the best of all the different reasons to do this. Also, one thing I want to tell you is that there are two versions of Python out there. There's Python 2 and there's Python 3. And it's not simply a matter of like Python 3 is the updated version of Python 2. They actually kind of like forked off from each other in some ways. There's slightly different syntax whether you're using Python 2 or 3. We are only ever going to use 3, and I'm actually crossing my fingers. I hope that's what the robots are using as well. I think that's the way that everything is going. So in repl.it, you got a few different things to look at. Down the left side of the screen, you got some sort of controls about files and versions and debuggers, different settings. You're welcome to fiddle around with those. Here where it says main.py, and these are like tabs, you can have multiple tabs here. This is where you start to type your code, okay? So the code goes here, and you know what? Let me see if I can make that a little bigger. Yeah, that might be better. Let's do that. And then when you run the code using this play button up the top, it's going to appear over here in the console. All right, you'll see any kind of output happen, and you'll see what I mean by that soon. This has a huge advantage. What we're doing here is a huge advantage over how coding used to be. You used to have to download like an application on your computer where you would have to like have this software package where you could run it and then it would compile it and do it. Very hard to share with other people. You have to like share email a text file to me so I could see what your code was, and I'd have to kind of download it and run it myself. This is only just a few years ago, but repl.it, kind of like Onshape changed CAD, repl.it has changed coding for the best. So I hope you really enjoy it. Let's start with the most basic of things. And as I start to lead you through this, sorry, I know there's all these introductions. Sorry about this. But please do keep your physical paper notebook with you, because we're going to be teaching you a bunch of different like commands and functions. And every time I give you a new one, I want you to write that down. You're going to have this list of functions. There's many of them that are very common, but there are many of them that are just a little too hard to keep all in your brain all at once. So, we're going to have you write those down, and that's your reference guide. Of course, if you want to look those things up online, it is easy to find Python references all over the internet. But I think having that at your fingertips, the very act of writing that down, helps you to remember it. And if you're wondering why the word "and" went blue when I typed commands and functions, I'm going to tell you about that later. But I hope you noticed that. All right, so the first thing that we'd like to do is we're going to use the print command. All right, and print means like display text on the screen. And when you type print, you need to open up parentheses, and whatever's going to be in the parentheses is what's going to appear on the screen. And then within the parentheses, if you want to write text, you need to open up some quotes. They can be single quotes, they can be double quotes, doesn't actually matter. I would recommend you do double quotes, so then you can use the single quotes for apostrophes later on. You'll see what I mean. So you want to say, you know, they say this is the first thing you're always supposed to do in coding: print hello world. That's your first code that anyone ever does, supposedly. Well, we're doing it. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Here we go. So actually didn't need to go another line. That's fine. Nothing is going to happen until I click the play button. And if I didn't say this already, I hope it's obvious. You should have repl.it open right now and be copying what I'm doing. Please don't just watch the video. You have to do this alongside me and see how it's going. Like, pause this video if you need to switch over. You know, minimize me if you need to, have me right there. Switch windows, I don't care. But when I press play, you see what happens over in the console. All that other text stuff disappears, and I just get exactly what was in the quotes. Hello world. I don't get the quotes. I don't get the parentheses. The parentheses are kind of a standard notation for any kind of function or command in Python. It says like print whatever's in these. And then the quotes, I just did air quotes. I'm so sorry. I know it's so annoying. The quotes are a signal to Python that we're talking text as opposed to numbers or other types of things. More on that in the next video. But print hello world. If you want to say more than one thing, just do print on the next line again. You can say, look, here we go. Here's single quotes now, okay? Print, it's good to be on campus. But look what happened there. You notice that because I tried to open with single quotation marks, when I got to the apostrophe, you see how it's red right there? It thought that I was done with giving the string of text. That's why everything here went black, because in Python, it actually color codes the different types of things. So commands are in purple, text is in this kind of brownish maroon sort of color, and black is just like random stuff. And it thought that I was done. So let me correct that. Let me put double quotes here. And I'm just going to finish off with double quotes. Oops, I don't need two of them. There you go. And now that's way more correct. And now it doesn't see that apostrophe as trying to be like text quotes, because it's waiting for the next matching double quote at the end to finish that string of text off. Again, nothing happens until I click play, and it just does both of those on separate lines. All right. Now, another way to use the print command is you can actually do triple quotes. This is an option, triple quotes. I haven't used this a lot, but I just found out about it. Let's see. What's a nice long string of text? Hold on. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. And then again, finish with the triple quotes. When you use triple quotes, what I'm told is it naturally flows the text to the next lines. I'm actually testing this live. I've never used triple quotes. As I say, I just found out about them. If you don't do that, you know, okay, in this particular window, it doesn't matter. So don't worry too much about it. In some consoles, the text won't flow, and so the triple quotes forces it to flow. But it's fine. There we go. Forget the last 30 seconds of your life. Take it away. Okay, now sometimes when you're coding, you've just put some stuff in and you're kind of like trying to test different variations of your code. Let's say, I'm writing this stuff, but I think, temporarily, I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to print more stuff, whatever it is. But I think maybe this line 3 is a little too much. I want to temporarily disable line 3. I can disable a line of code by turning it into what is called a comment. Okay, you want to write this down in your little list of things that you can do, comments. And you do comments by the little hashtag, the pound symbol, that. You just do 1 at the very beginning, and that blanks out that line. It just simply ignores it. The computer now glosses over that line, doesn't even see it, and it keeps on going. You can use this either, as I said, to temporarily enable or disable lines of code, because you know what? Yeah, I think I actually do want that. I get rid of the pound sign, the hashtag, the number symbol, and now it's back again. So that's as opposed to saying, let's just delete it all. It's actually kind of safer just to, that was undo, Control Z. It's actually safer just to turn it on or off, whoops, with a comment symbol at the very start. Now, that is also a useful thing if you want to give little like helpful instructions or reminders to yourself or to whoever is reading your code. So at the start of your code, you might just drop in a comment and say, this is our first practice run with Python 3. Now that code will never get run. I didn't even put like print or anything else. I'm just doing that as a little note to myself, or when you share your code with me, it lets me see that, okay? So when your coding gets way more complex and you got endless formulas and functions and variables and sort of things happening, it's easy to lose track of what each block of code represents. So these little comment tags really, really help with that. So use them generously. I haven't actually pressed on this idea enough in past coding courses, so I'm going to do it from the start this time. Use comments generously. I'm going to try to model that for you, and I want you to do the same thing. Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy in anything, especially coding, and you'll do just fine. Okay, let's see here. Get rid of that line. I don't need that. I know I'll never need that. That's why I'm actually deleting it. By the way, you can skip lines entirely. Python doesn't care about that. Sometimes that's nice to kind of leave almost like paragraph spaces. So my next thing we're going to look at is something called variables. Variables are very much like in mathematics. It's a way to have like a little empty box, okay? A little empty box that you can put anything into so that it will contain it, and then it's just kind of there to be dug into whenever you need it. What is in the box can go in there and be used, or it might get taken out and replaced with something else, or it might get added to, okay, or you can take things away. But the variable is the container. It's the box that you put stuff into, like numbers or text strings or whatever you want. So the way we create those is just like this. We come up with a name for the variable. I'm going to call my variable cup. Okay, cup. The text is black, and just writing the word cup is what creates the variable and defines it. And you put cup equals. Okay, notice the equal sign went blue. It's been recognized. Cup equals, and then we're going to put some text into our variable, which we just named cup. Let's see, I'm going to use my name. Into our variable called cup, I'm putting the value, the text value, Rodney, my name. Now I'm going to tell Python to print whatever is inside the variable called cup. Here, let me actually also, I'm just going to add, let's just leave a little, put a little blank line there on the console screen when this prints. See what that does? It's just simply going to print an empty line and then go to the next, just to help break up our page. Okay, so you see when I press run over here, it's going to do all this stuff first, and then it's going to create a variable called cup. It's going to drop the word Rodney into that, and then on the next line it's going to print whatever is in that. In this case, it's the word Rodney. So this line here on the console, that exists because it's running line number 9. That's what this is coming from. It's not coming from line 8, it's coming from line 9. It's printing whatever's in cup. Because if I change it to something else, it's going to print the something else that I just put into there. Okay? So as you're fooling around with this, you can put anything you like into your cup, or you can call it something else. Okay? You can call your variable box. Just make sure that then you tell it to print whatever is in the variable box. Okay? Whether you have bananas or apples. There we go. You can have multiple variables happening. You could have maybe you have box 1 and you have box 2. Maybe you have apples and you have also pineapples. So you can tell it to print whatever is inside box 1. And then you could tell it to print whatever is in box 2. Look at that, apples, pineapples. Now, if you get a variable name wrong and you try to press play, you are going to get an error. Here's our first error that we see in Python. It's a shocking bleeding red color. It's, you know, classic stuff's going wrong color. And it's referring, it tries to help you out. It says, look, if you look carefully, it says in the file main.py, see that's up here, main.py, line 10, this is called debugging. It's helping you find the bugs. You're debugging right now. And line 10, so you go to line 10, go, oh, look at that. Ooh, uh-oh. In the module print, it's even telling you like which particular command. There's a name error. Uh-oh, a name error. That doesn't sound good. The name box is not defined. And that just simply means that at no point yet in the code, in this code on the screen right now that I'm trying to run, the variable called box, oh, look at that. If you hover over it, it also tells you undefined name box. You haven't told me what this is. You've never mentioned it yet. What is this box? I don't know. That's what Python's trying to tell you. So make sure you only refer to variables that have been defined. Now, oh, that's interesting. Look at that. If I click, this is really cool. If I click on the variable box2, I didn't even like double click to highlight, I just clicked on it. It highlights the other instances of where box2 is mentioned elsewhere in the code. That's really helpful. Happens anywhere I click on it. And look at that. If I hover over it here, I don't know if you saw that, but it actually, come on, loading. Nope, it didn't do it. Come on. I thought it showed pineapples just then. Maybe that was an optical illusion. I thought it did. Anyway, I hope you get the idea. That's variables, and variables can have anything in them. Right now we have some text strings. Let's run that. Let's get that red off the screen. Apples, pineapples. Very good. Let's try some other tricks here. Let's print something else. Ooh, lots of information there. Let's print box 1, but then we'll put a comma. Then we'll also print box 2. So a comma is a thing that you can put inside of the print parentheses, and it's, I think, very intuitive. It's obviously saying print whatever's in box 1 first, comma, and then print whatever is in box 2. Now, you could write this down in your notes. around your print function, which I'm sure you already have written there. When you use a comma, look what happens. When you use a comma, it automatically puts a space between those two or more different things that you referred to. All right? Puts that little space there. Now, make sure you catch this. The space is not coming. You see what I highlighted just there? That's not the space which is over here. In fact, I don't even need that space. That's really just to help my eyes. As I say, Python's quite forgiving. I still have the space there. The space is coming from the comma. I can put other stuff in there too. I can put comma, I can just make up some more text. And that's going to do all of those things one by one. It's printing whatever's in box 1, whatever's in box 2, and then just some text that I just made up just then. And in this case, it almost kind of makes sense. Not very grammatical. Apples, pineapples are things I like, but it feels like the start of a song. Now, this is not the only way to join things together in a print function. Again, add this to your notes. You can do this. Box 1 plus box 2. Now, when you use a plus, pardon me, when you use a plus sign, it does not put the space in between them. Okay, apples, pineapples, coming from line 13. And it is just like that. It's just, you tell me what those things are. I'm just going to put them together, no space at all. Again, I can do that with, with some text, run it all together, and I'm not going to get any space between these different things. I still have the spaces that I put into my text are things I like. There were spaces in there. They still show up because that was just in the text string. But it didn't put a space between apples and the start of my text string, which was the word are, A-R-E. And, you know, it kind of depends. There are different situations when you do want the space or you don't. It's a little bit of a preferential thing because what you can do, look at this, you could do stuff like box 1 plus box 2 plus. You can use the plus, you just got to put the space. See how I put the space in the text? That's totally fine. And then I get the space happening over here. The space is not coming from the plus sign. It's coming from the text itself. All right. So that is how you join things inside a print function. All right, let's look at some more little tricks. Let's look at uppercase forcing, lowercase forcing, and capitalization forcing. Yeah, I can scroll. All right, let's see. Let's make up a new variable name. Let's say, and you know, let's put an extra little print line, just like that. Just again to help clean up what comes out in the output. Normally, by the way, if I was just kind of like scratching around here and doing random stuff, I'd be deleting everything and keeping it going. I'm keeping it all on the screen here because you get to look at this file when I'm done, and you can check what I have done and, you know, copy bits and pieces as it is useful to you. That's why I'm intentionally leaving a paper trail behind me. All right, let's invent another variable. I'm going to call it name1. And let's say that Billy is a name. Let's make up another one. Let's do name2. Jackie. Billy and Jackie. Two names that for whatever reasons just came to me right then. Let's say that we want to print these names. I'm going to say name 1, and let's do a comma this time, name 2. I hope you can already know exactly what's going to appear on the screen. You're going to see the word Billy with a space and then the word Jackie. Here we go. Am I right? Am I right? There it is. Okay, exactly what we would expect. But here's something else that you can do. Let's say that you want it all to become lowercase. You want Billy's name and or Jackie's name to all go to lowercase. You don't want the capital B, you don't want the capital J. Don't ask me why you'd want that. Trust me, this kind of stuff comes up in coding where you want to take something that already exists and then modify it and manipulate it in certain ways, including upper, lowercase, things like that. So you can go in and you can, I kind of like to just go all over again. You can say name 1, and then you do this, lower, open close parentheses. Let's do this for now. Okay, you kind of append or attach a little mini command onto the end of an existing variable using that period, okay, like name1 dot lower, and then you do have to do the open close parentheses. All right, and again, see how it picked up, it turned the word purple, the word lower purple, as a signal, hey, I'm seeing something here. You can click or hover your mouse over it, I think. Do you get a little help file like you do with print? Okay, I guess not. That's okay. Now we run this. See what it did the second time? It actually forced Billy to all go down to lowercase. And it doesn't matter like what combination of letters are in there. If you just print name 1, it's going to print it exactly case sensitive, case for case, letter by letter. But if you force it to all go lower with a lower open close, then that's what it does. It drops it all down. Now I can do the same thing with uppercase. Okay, check that out. I'm going to force Jackie to all go into yelling uppercase caps regardless of what the original caps up or down were. And then the last one that I'll show you as well, I can also do, I'll do Billy again. You can do capitalize, open close. And please write these 3 down. These 3, lower, dot lower, open close, dot upper, open close, dot capitalize, open close. And here, let's make it Jackie all lowercase. Sorry. Oh no, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, that showed it to you. I want you to know that these are 3 things you can do. So far you should have print listed as a command. You should have some note about the commas and the plus sign as 2 different ways to join things together. You might want to write down something about how to create variables. Basically, the equal sign is what forces the definition of a variable. And then I want you to write dot lower, open close, dot upper, open close, dot capitalize, open close as things you can do. And I'm going to show you in just a second how that might be useful actually in a particular given situation. By the way, I hope you realize what capitalize does. It capitalizes the first letter and then leaves the rest lowercase, again, regardless of what the original case was. Okay. So this is, by the way, the last thing we'll do today. Then we'll try to wrap it all together. We're gonna, how do we ask for, ASCII. How do we ask for input? It's like ye olde English for a second there. How do you get input from the user so you're not just simply running a program that is, click, done, all run at once, no interaction at all? How do you get the interaction? How do you create, for example, a text-based game where, you can, do you want to pick up the diamond sword? Yes. Oh, you see an ogre with 10 hit points. Do you want to use your cloak of invisibility? Then it waits. Yes. I'm hoping you have some idea what I'm talking about. If you do, you might be in the Mr. Hurt, Mr. Meef happy little nerd category. How do you ask for input? Well, it's very easy. What you do is you define a variable. Let's say, let's do name. You do name equals, that creates a variable, creates a little box, little cup, waiting for something to go into it. And by the way, I know it's very tempting. I'm interrupting myself. This is okay. I know it's very tempting to create random, weird names for variables. I was doing this with my 11-year-old son the other day to kind of test some ideas out. And of course he does. What my high school students have done as well. He's writing a program that asks you for your name, and then he, his first variable is going to be something like boogers or something like that. That's funny, but when you have like dozens of variables and you want to actually remember what each one is about without having to go back and look it up, trust me, use an obvious name that has something to do with what it's actually functioning as, okay? Just a little bit of advice for you. So, name equals, and then you do this. I know it's weird, but you say input, open parentheses, and look, a little help file jumps up. It actually says the word there, prompt. This is gonna create a prompt which waits for you to type into the console. And what you do is you actually type a little string here. What is your name? So whatever string of text you put into there, that is what's going to appear on the screen while it waits for your input. And then once you type your input and press enter, it's going to drop it into the variable called name. There's actually quite a lot happening on this line, okay? And it also kind of works like backwards. So it's going to show what is your name, it's going to wait for your input, and it's going to put whatever you type into the variable called name. Let's try it out. Let's run this. Oh, let's put our little typical extra line. There we go. All right, what is your name? And see that little white cursor? It's not flashing, but it's there waiting. Rodney is my name. Or my name might be Alfonso the Clown. And you press enter, and we didn't actually see anything happen there, but it dropped the name Alfonso the Clown into the variable called name. We could actually prove that. Let's again create an extra line here. Then let's do print name. What is your name? Alfonso. Press enter. Bang, gives it back to me, Alfonso. I can even get a little fancy with this. I could say, what about this? Print, oh, your name is, I'm going to put a space there. Actually, no, let's do a comma. If I do a comma, it's going to put the space there by itself. And then do name. Notice again, I'll say it again, my space here in my code is optional. Doesn't affect the outcome of the code in any way. I like to put it because I think it's clearer to look at on the screen. Here we go, press play. And what is my name? Alfonso. I press enter. And see what line 28 added in. Oh, your name is, the comma, puts a space there, Alfonso. Let's make this a touch more elegant now. There's a few little tricks here which just make you look like a bit of a better coder. Firstly, I think I'd like to put a space right here. Maybe even 2 spaces right here. What do you think that's going to do? It's going to leave a little gap just for pure visualization's sake. Visualizations are important. Visuals are important. You're interacting with a human. You want it to feel grammatically good. You want it to feel stylistically, aesthetically good on the page, as much as black and white, plain text font can look. But that's going to put a little gap there, so when I say, what is your name, and pause, the word Alfonso is not like, brr, like right there on the question mark. Now, I also think when it says back to me, oh, your name is Alfonso, I'd like there to be a period at the end of my sentence, because I appreciate good grammar. So the way that I can do that is I can add in a period in its own little quotes. Now I have to use the plus sign here. If I used a comma, it would put a space after Alfonso. Yeah, let me show you that firstly. If I did this, I run it, go away. Go away. What is your name? Al. Ooh, see those two spaces there? That looks so much better. I like that so much more. Bang. So you see, after it put Alfonso name, it put a space and then the period. So I can mix pluses and commas quite freely and happily. That does not mess up the code. But see, now that looks good. That looks normal. It feels more like a person is talking to me, which I guess is that the goal? I guess that's kind of the goal. All right, let's try a couple more things. Well, actually, maybe that's the right place to leave it. So put in the word input into your list of commands. I do find this is hard for beginning Python coders to remember, but once you do it about a dozen times, it's much easier. Variable equals, hold on, is my screen mirroring? I don't know. Variable equals input, open parentheses, and then the text of what you want it to ask. You might just find in your notes you just want to kind of write that out wholesale. This is a perfect example. As I said, I'm sharing this particular code file with you so you can look at what I did. Okay, what I'll do now, I'm going to I'm just gonna kind of make up a little interesting code that gets a little more intelligent, ties together a few of these things, and you'll see how that can work. Okay, and then I'm going to give you an assignment that I want you to do. I'm going to describe the assignment here in the video, and I'm also going to write that out too on Google Classroom, give you the written instructions, but it won't be any different than what I'm saying right here. But first, let me give you a little interaction with the user. And you know what? There's a little much going on. I don't want to get rid of it because I want you to be able to see it. So let's just get rid of some of the stuff. Remember, this is actually completely disabling these lines of code. Now, you know what? I have this vague memory. Nope, that doesn't work. Oh, I think there is a, it's like, no, okay. In some coding, sorry, I was trying some little coding commands. In some coding apps, you can just like click a button that toggles things. I'm sure there's one you can do here, but see what this does. This just simply clears away some of that earlier stuff. Okay. And by the way, if you need to stop the code, you can stop it right there. All right, let's see. I'm going to welcome the user. I'm going to say, oh, actually, let's do this. Can we do this? Does that work? Oh, yeah, I can do that. Look at that. Yeah, that's what we'll do. This is what we'll do. I'm going to leave this all turned on. Sorry about this, guys. I know we're doing this live, but the experience of looking over my shoulder to see what real coding looks like is actually really important. So let's leave this one. We're going to leave this in the file that says main.py, and now I'm going to do another little tab right here, and yep, that's fine. I'm going to start with a little welcome. I'm going to say print hi. Let's get to know each other. I kind of like put in a little space over it. First thing you should do with someone is ask them what their name is. First, what is your name? Again, I'm going to put a space there at the end. And then once I give in my name, I'm gonna kind of speak it back to the person. So I'm gonna say hi. Name. All right, now see what this is doing. It's firstly just going to tell me, hi, let's get to know each other. It's going to leave an extra line. That's what line 2 is doing. Then it's going to ask me, first, what is your name? It's going to wait while I say something, and then it's going to put my answer into the variable called name. It's going to print another blank line of space, and then it's going to print hi. Now I'm just going with the pluses right now because then I can just control the spaces or not spaces within my text strings. And by the way, one thing that as I said, I really want to get in a better habit of teaching this. Let's do a comment. Gets to know you like a scary AI friend. All right, let's play. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Why? I really wanted this one to run. All right, I apologize. It's not what I thought would happen. I want. Can we do this? Nope. All right, I clearly need to look a little more into this. I am going to do all the opposite of everything I just said. We'll work this out, guys. It's all good. Forget this one. We'll delete it. Yes, delete this file. Great. Here we go again. All right, now I just don't know what's happening. This is embarrassing for recording a video, isn't it? Yeah, I need to put something in here. Maybe if I update it a little bit. Okay, well, just wait 1 second. I'm going to pause this video. Okay, and I'm back. I realized what I was doing. It didn't take me very long either. I just realized it was not running everything because it was waiting for me to type in code regarding line 25, the original stuff I was doing. What is your name? I don't know why I didn't think of that. Maybe you thought of that before me. So now it's happening. We're getting all this scary AI stuff down the bottom. It didn't get paused on anything prior to that. Okay, first, what is your name? So we say Jerry. Whoop. Welcome to debugging. There we go. First, what is your name? Jerry. I put it in and it comes back, hi Jerry, and it feels kind of real. I've got all the spaces right, all my grammar looks correct. I've got those lines of space between each one, so visually it's nice and easy to see. I could have a little more interaction with the user. I could say, well, let's not do age. Let's say, you know, talk about some nice, you know, easy, friendly things. And what is your favorite color? Leave a little space there. give a little extra line. There is another way, by the way, to make it force a line, but I might show you that later. Say your favorite color is, we'll use a plus. Oops, must spell that correct. And the very very happy insidious AI program says your favorite color is whatever. Mine too. This is before it takes over the world. First, what is your name? Jerry. And what is your favorite color? Evil red. Evil red, mine too. Now, one other thing that I could have done here too, by the way, I'm going to make an allowance that the user typing might be a lazy user, might get something wrong, might have slight typos, shift key might not work. If someone writes in Jerry without a capital J, I want to do better than what the user is. If they get it wrong, I want to get it right. So I'm actually going to, when I say it back to them, capitalize, and then open close parentheses. I'm actually going to say it back to them in capitalized letters, like a name, regardless of how they input it. Okay, let's try that again. Jerry. Hi, Jerry. And I say it back to them a little more proper-like. I don't think I do that with color, because colors don't get capitalized, but names do. Fuchsia. Where goes fuchsia? Mine too. Yeah, I think something's going on here. Now, by the way, you'll notice that I started to type age and then I stopped myself. Age is a number, and we didn't deal with anything numerical in this first video. Python handles numbers differently than text strings. So we've got to treat that with some caution, and I'll show you how to do that before. But here's where we're going to finish up. I want you now to write your own get to know you program. And I want you use at least, let's see, these 3 questions. Okay. I want you to ask the user at least 3 questions. I want it to feel good and grammatical, just like I was showing, with like spaces and pauses and line breaks and everything like that. I want you to get to know the person, and then you have to like say it back to them in some way. You got to actually recycle the answers by storing them as variables and then giving them back and incorporating them into sentences, just like I have here. Okay, at least 3 things. Keep it to words and text. You could ask them like, where are you from? Vermont? Me too. Evil red? Oh, I had no idea. Just, it can be obviously silly. You can have some fun with it, but create a scary AI friend that has all the same things in common as you do. When you're done with that, you are going to share that back with me. I'll admit, at the time of this video, I'm not 100% sure as to how to do that, but I think you're probably going to click share, and no results found for Rodmeath. I'm Rodmeath. Maybe I just can't share with myself. I think you should be able to do it with my username, which is Rodmeath, or maybe my email address, if that's... Nope, I probably just can't invite me. But yeah, please do that. We'll work out how it is. If you get stuck, you know where to find me. Ask me questions. I think in the following videos, some of these things might go a little bit smoother. I might try to work out how to use these different files a little better as well on the side. All right. Thank you, guys. No discussion board comments necessary. You can ask me questions if you have them. Just work on this brief assignment, and there'll be a second one in the second half of the week as well. Okay, so not one main assignment, no discussion board, just 2 short assignments. This is the first of 2 this week. All right, thanks a lot.